So a wild thing is happening, and we're still in this little pocket of warm weather in the winter for some reason. And trust me, I know that not everybody is in this little pocket right now, and I feel terrible for some of my friends who are up in New York and Pennsylvania, and they're getting freezing temperatures and so much snow and different things. But holy, I'm going to just make hay while the sun is shining and continue on with some garden cleanup today. And we're going to go into the front yard into the Peninsula garden to do that. Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden. My garden is located in growing zone 8B and I am in southeastern North Carolina. The front yard is much more sunny than the backyard is right now, so we're going to be wearing some sunglasses today while we get our work done. But what the idea here is to cut back some dead foliage on some plants, leave some other foliage, and we're going to talk about which ones we're leaving versus which ones we're cutting, and basically just beautify what's out there by removing some of this, lots of dead stuff, because let's face it, the garden's looking pretty stinking brown right now. So let's head up to the Peninsula garden and see what's going on up there. All right, we're going to start looking at the Peninsula garden from my magnolia tree. The magnolia tree is what anchors this bed along my fence line, or to my fence line. And then the Peninsula garden juts out this way. And I have to walk in this direction so I don't get tons of shadow as I'm showing you what we're going to do. Number one, I have these daylilies here, and oh, trust me, it is so tempting to pull up all of the dead foliage of these daylilies. I have a lot of it going on in here, but I am going to leave it. I am in zone 8B. That means we're pretty mild in the winters here and our ground does not freeze. However, I'm going to leave this foliage here as protection for the crown of the plant just through January. And then when February comes, I'll feel much better about cleaning that up. So this dead foliage is staying. Then I have my zebra grasses, of which I have 3 here lining the back of the Peninsula garden. I am also going to leave these. Now, I do have a bit of green growth down here, and that's normal for me because we get kind of pockets of mild weather and then we get some new sprouts of things. However, I'm still going to leave this grass, the tall pieces, alone for now. And again, I'll probably tackle that February into March, but before it gets warm enough that I get a lot of green, because I don't want to have a hard time cutting this stuff back. So those are 2 things that I am absolutely keeping. Now, some stuff that's got to go, all these blanket flowers, all the blanket flower foliage that is dead. This is some of it that is just completely dead, whereas this right here, it's not completely dead. I'm going to leave this alone. All I'm going to do on the green growth is deadhead some of these things. Cutting all of that back. Now look at some cuties that I have going on here. Let me show you. Over here, I have the Autumn Joy sedum. Actually, it isn't even that. It's an Autumn Fire. Well, the top here is all dead, but look at this adorable little growth I have underneath. And it's the same thing with my second one. The growth is happening. Let's see, where can I get to it the best? Right around on this side of the plant. It's adorable. Little rosettes are already showing up in here. Oh yes, let's not get confused or distracted here by this dollar weed. I'll see if I can pull up some of this dollar weed so it doesn't strangle anything. But my sedum has rosettes. This part I'm going to cut off. And another thing that's growing green underneath are my mums. So I have all this dead foliage of the mums, and yet I have some pretty green growth underneath. And this is a cold tolerant plant, so I'm not going to worry about it having difficulty surviving, having the foliage survive. I am going to cut that back because I like things to have a cleaner look. So let's get after it. I forgot one of my tools in the greenhouse, so we're just going to walk back here and go grab that. And while we're doing that too, because it's a mild day, I have the greenhouse doors wide open, and kind of each time this happens, I pull something out that really needs a refresher. And this is like the Royal Hawaiian, I think it's called, elephant ear. and it is suffering from little tiny bugs. I think that they're aphids. I'm not exactly sure. So I sprayed this guy down with some neem oil. He'll need some clipping back, and he needs a good bath on top of it. He wants a good drink, but this is just kind of what I do, is kind of take my plants out for a walk when it gets warmer. And some of my mandevilla, by the way, is fabulous and gorgeous and just no regrets on it ever. But my bougainvillea, in contrast, you can see that purple one back in that back corner, and this purple one also, they don't love living in the greenhouse. And I had that previously with the pink bougainvillea that I have. This is what I'm looking for. And they just kind of drop leaves and get a little yellowing on them and things like that. They really like being out in the fresh air instead. And I have to just talk to it and tell all my plants, it's just a matter of time. We're going to be all right. We just got to get through a little bit more of winter here, and you guys will be back out in the fresh air and that sun. All right, we're going to walk up here and we're going to get some work done today. I hope it's satisfying for you to watch it, even if you are in a cold weather area. You know what I just thought of? I went out to the store today and I noticed, at least in Walmart, that they are starting to set up for their seed displays. And the reason why I mention this is because, as I said in my last video, sometimes the stores are ahead of the game, ahead of the seasons. In this case, though, it gives us a sense of excitement that spring is around the corner, and having the seed packets out and the gardening tools start to emerge, I feel like that's very hopeful. So I hope you do too. And like I said, hopefully it's enjoyable for you to watch this garden clean up, even if you're in a spot where it's quite cold outside right now. All right, so we're going to start at the mums here, because that's toward the end of the flower bed, and start working our way around. Now I just have these cutie pie little clippers with me today, and this work is going to be so easy and so light. All these little branches or stalks are super thin, so they're easy to cut through. And if everything's very dry and brittle, I am just going to put it into a paper bag today. The sunshine feels so good on my back. That was part of the reason I wore black today. I wasn't exactly sure how warm it would be when I got out here. I think it might be 60 degrees. I'm not really sure. These mums here have been with me for years. These are some of the first plants that I planted in this yard, because the Peninsula garden was one of the first garden beds that I made. And they usually bloom for me twice a year. They bloom in the springtime and then again in the fall. And it just requires the deadheading in the middle. So what I'm doing right now with this cleanup, I'm not concerned about it at all, leaving this extra foliage. The protection's not necessary for them. And then from the road, everything is going to look a lot nicer too. And I'm just trying to give them a little bit of a roundish look if I can. And I will leave these little clippings here to just go away as nature sees. All right, feeling pretty good about that. And then this one is a little more spread out, not in a nice rounded whatever. I was looking for formation, I guess, at all. So I can really dig this mum up and kind of put it back into more of a round formation, if you will, if I feel like it. But quite honestly, I'm probably going to be too lazy to do that. I'm just letting it spread out as it wants. And I can identify the root system and all the little legs of the dollar weed because it's white and almost nothing else is white inside the ground. Unfortunately, the dollar weed sends out these shoots and then it just keeps re-rooting. And so it's extremely difficult to get rid of if you ever can once it starts in your yard. Now, unfortunately for me, grubs are a serious problem in my front yard. I have them in my grass and I have them in my flower bed, so I do have to treat the ground, especially for grubs. And here we go, right here with one. Big ol' nasty one. So we can see how much neater the mums look right now. And then that whole pile right there is all the daylilies. So we're leaving that alone. And then look at the little cuties. So here's my little sedum rosettes. And I am gonna leave them a little bit more protected, you know, just because. So like this little bit of dirt and stuff that fell over them, I'm gonna leave it like that. But look how sweet they are. That makes me very happy. And now onto the very many blanket flowers that I have everywhere. And also, as I was looking in through these blanket flowers, I have some other weeds in here that I may as well pop out at the same time. And this is part of my life with blanket flowers. See, I have these seeds on my shirt right here. And you'd think, okay, who really cares? You have some seeds like hanging on to you. But what happens is they're kind of like spiky and itchy. So now I got like these ones attached to my socks. So I have to dig in my shoes and get rid of all of those. Well, my brown sea of blanket flowers over here is pretty well taken care of. I got just a bit more to go, but then I have another bunch right there. So this weed right here, who even knows what it is? Looks a little like a dandelion. That was not nearly as neat as I wanted it to be. All right. Well, hopefully we got it. All right, starting back by the magnolia tree again. Just doing a quick little pass over. It's looking more green, less brown. And hey, it's not like I'm even expecting there to be a lot of green. Ooh, let me show you something else. These blanket flowers are sitting there covering over this verbena. I have a trailing verbena in here that blooms purple. I'm just gonna cut back some of these dead stems real quick while I'm sitting here. This mainly blooms in the spring and summer, and it just keeps rerooting itself as it goes. So I have a lot of it kind of scattered throughout in here. But see, the blanket flowers just reseed themselves wherever they want to go. And so this is what often happens. They end up covering over other things. And then right here, this is my dianthus that is a cold weather bloomer. We just have a little bit of dead foliage on the inside. I'm not going to do a full trim on him right now. I'm going to wait a little longer for it. But you see this green foliage here. That's because every variety of dianthus is a little bit different, but it doesn't die back for me fully. And so obviously it's still alive. Although the dreaded dollar weed is still alive right there too. So here we go with its white root and stems. Take this out. And then more grubs, yay. Well, we're on a mission now, so let's just get this mum done too. These are my pinky babies. They're not as old as the ones that we first tackled, so these are keeping a pretty round shape for the most part. Like I said, I'll come back and do some more cleanup later, but let that green see the light of day. Of course, the golden sword yucca always looks great. And then this is where we started. So besides having some blanket flower seeds stuck into my sweaters, which are itching my arms, all is well here. The weather is so mild and great. Like I said, the sunshine is on my back. So I hope that you can feel this warmth and just feel a little excited for being able to get into the garden whenever you are able. I know this isn't gonna last for me. And as I said before, we will do greenhouse chats as soon as these mild days start to go away. But for right now, I wanna be out here. I wanna have my hands being busy, and I wanna share that with you. So follow me on social media, My Carolina Garden. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, you guys, happy planting.